Yeah, I know. It has taken a while, but you know, I can't be the first at everything. I've got to let somebody else have a turn every now and again. We're finally here. I finally have them. We're finally going to take a look at the new Makita 9Ah and 12Ah LXT batteries. These are the first increases in amp power on the LXT 18V system since 2016. That's when they released the 6Ah battery. 9 years ago, just over 9 years ago, that battery came out. How big are they? Well, you can see one's bigger than the other, clearly. But in this video, we're going to take a look at how much they weigh, how big they are compared to the old batteries, and what cells are inside these things. So without further ado, I will clear this bench off and we will get stuck into these puppies. First up, they are pretty big. They are a big jump in size from the batteries that most people are used to. There's your standard 5Ah power, which is, I'm really surprised that so many people don't understand this as well. This is the same size as a 3Ah power, a 4Ah power, a 5Ah power, 6Ah power. They're all the same physical size and shape, okay? Whereas these two, I mean, I'm going to have to zoom the camera out, that's how big they are. These two are much larger. They are larger in every dimension, height, width, and length. It's a big size jump compared to what we're all used to. This is the size of a 1.5 or 2Ah battery. As you can see, massively different. This battery size having one row of cells, this having two, this having three, and this having four. At least that's what I assume these two have in them, because I don't yet know what cells are in these two batteries. I know what's in here. We've got 10 18650 Murata VTC5 cells. But what's in here? Do we have 15 of the same cells that are in here? No, we don't, because the numbers don't add up right. And what have we got in here? We got 18650s, have we got 21700s? What's going on? Now, the 5Ah batteries, as well as being the same physical shape and size, they basically weigh the same as a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. Okay, they all weigh the same because they all have 10 cells in them. The only difference is the capacity of each of those cells. As time went by, improvements were made, and you know, 3 became 4, 4 became 5, 5 became 6, and why they still bother making some of them, I don't know. Personally, I'd just make this one and forget 3, 4, and 6. If you want to know about 6, well, I've talked about that many times. But anyway, this is the 5Ah power / 3, 4, and 6, coming in at 620 grams. They're all around that, give or take sort of 20 grams. So the 9, we'd be expecting it to be half that again. So 900 odd grams plus a bit more plastic, coming in should be close to a kg, yeah? 970 grams. Okay, I wasn't too far off. And now the big boy, 20 cells. What are we coming in at? 1300 grams, 1.3 kgs. Not too bad considering the size of it. Certainly considering how much a 12Ah battery weighs from a competitor brand. 1.558. So just over 1.5 kgs for that, and for the Forge, 1.5. The Forge is actually slightly lighter than the old high output, eh? But they're both 200 grams heavier than the Makita. There's another thing you notice when you pick them up as well. So that leads me to believe, before I even open this up, that this has 18650 cells in it, because it's very narrow for the size of the battery. We take a look at it next to one of the Milwaukees, you can see a big difference. This uses 21700 cells. This uses a tabless 21700 cells. And this is most likely using 18650s. But of course, the only way to really know for sure what's in them is to open them up. Oh, actually one more thing before we open them up. I might just throw them on the checker and see what that looks like and try them on a tool. I've seen online, I've had people confront me about it, I've had people abuse me about it, that all Makita 18V batteries will not work until you put them on a charger. When you buy them new, they are blocked by the factory, they're like not turned on, and so they won't turn on until you put them on the charger. You cannot put them on a tool and get them to work. So neither of these have been on a charger. I'll prove that actually. No, I won't put it on the battery checker just yet, because some of you will tell me that that activates it, I suppose. So let's just see what happens. They come out of the box with one light showing. Whenever you buy Makita batteries, there'll either be 1, 2, or no lights showing. And I'm expecting the trigger to activate this tool. There's the light, and there's the tool. No problem at all. I won't do the other one. We'll put that one on the checker so that it's one of each. If you haven't yet seen one of these, take a look down in the description. I've done about 100 videos on it, so I'll put them down in the description somewhere. We'll get rid of that. And we will start off with the 9Ah battery here. On she goes. 0 charges. It's sitting at 25%, 30%. And we are all good here. Obviously, it's brand new. Sitting at 17.2 volts while it was shipped. And nothing wrong at the end there, obviously. If we take a look at the bottom here, if you want to see all the info on the bottom. 162 watt hours. It is made in China. Doesn't say where the cells are made. We've got a star there to show that it's for, well, that's been around for a long time now. We've got that little frosty one there. Now, do you know what that means? Tell you that in just a minute. I'll just do the 12 amp hour, sorry, and then we'll go back to that. 12 amp hour, 216 watt hours, made in China as well. Doesn't say where the cells are. Slightly different configuration of the label. Now I see online people also say, oh, the label's different, therefore it's a fake. We can see those labels are quite different. They've got the same information, but it's configured in a different way. And they make different labels for different parts of the world, for different languages and different regions. That doesn't mean they are fake. Anyway, let's have a look at the 12. So it's also sitting around the same level of charge, even though it's only showing 1 light when that one's showing 2. Boom, everything's good. 17.3, everything all good, of course. So now we are free to start using these things. Well, got to charge them first. Now on the top of both batteries we have another symbol, which is a uh-oh. You know what that means. You can't use it for something. There's some numbers written on there. Let's take a look. DSP 600, DSP 601, DSP 611, DRC 200 and DRC 300. Are those numbers the same on both tools? Yes, they are, and they're not tools, they are of course batteries. Now it seems strange to me that they've singled out those numbers. The DSP 600 and 601 is the plunge saw, the double battery 18 volt plunge saws, and the DSS 611, that is a circular saw, and the DRC 200 and 300 are the little robot vacs. Now why they've singled out those tools when there's a lot more that these batteries don't work on, don't fit on. I'm not sure if they're saying it fits on these ones, but don't use it because there's gonna be a problem. Or something else. Because there's lots of things that these won't fit on at all that they haven't got the numbers on, and other tools that are gonna be issues. And I have seen an image with this with a much bigger sticker on it saying of many more tools than that you can't use this thing on. And Makita New Zealand have made a table of all the tools that they've currently got that do or do not fit, which will flash up on the screen at some point throughout this video. Now from what it looks like on the battery, these were both made in September this year, so just a couple of months ago, and I'm dying to see what is in them, so I'm going to get into them now, okay? But first of all, the symbols. Should we talk about those symbols, or shall I get you guys to leave you what you think they are down in the comments? Because I've seen people say all sorts of crazy things about these symbols. So there's sort of 3 on the bottom here that we could look at, I suppose. We've got the star, we've got the little snowflake one, and we've got the aeroplane one up in the top right hand corner. Now I've seen lots of people say, oh, the aeroplane one means you can't take it on a plane, or you can take it on a plane depending on who says it. And some people say it means it's safe to go on a plane because it's under 100 watt hours or under 150 depending on what country you're in again. Although as you can see, as we've already looked at, this battery is well above that, 216 watt hours. In this part of the world you can't ship a battery that is over 100 watt hours, like you can't post it without it having special dangerous freight shipping, and there's that number that you've got to put on it that I'm looking around for right now. What is it? UN 1350 or something. I guess I could just look at the box these batteries came in. UN 3480 is the number I was thinking of, and UN 3481 is the same sort of batteries but in the device, so already sitting in the tool. Now I know a lot of people seem to, you shouldn't read message boards, it's just painful. But I see people go, oh, I've got a used tool because it had the battery in it. Makita don't ship the tools with the batteries on the tools. Yes, they do. They do it all the damn time. And if they do, it'll have UN3481 written on there. And you've also got this one as well, saying that they're flammable and dangerous. So yeah, lithium batteries are nasty wee things. While I've got the box here, let's have a look. So we've got some other numbers on the end. These are the numbers that were written on the batteries that we just read out before, but for some reason it says Model A, Model B, Model C. I have no idea at this point what A, B and C refers to, but we've also got the symbols here as well. We've got the same model numbers, the plunge saw and the circular saw there, and we've even got the US numbers there, which is unusual for this part of the world. So they're planning on using this box everywhere, I'm guessing. So A has the plunge saws, a circular saw in both regions of the world. And then in Model B, we've got the two plunge saws again, but not the circular saw. And then Model C, we've got those two robot vacs. So a little bit confusing as to why that is. So I'm not really sure what Model A, Model B, and Model C refer to as such. Maybe if I read all the paperwork, I would find out. But at the top, they've got Model A, B, and C again. I don't know why. Now, it's all very well having symbols on products, but if people don't know what they mean, what is the point? When Makita first released LXT 18V batteries, they had a bit of an issue where the batteries were burning out, overloading the tools, stuff like that. People were, pushing them too hard, batteries catch on fire, that sort of stuff. So the star means that this battery has, and there's the star there as well, pressed into the plastic itself. It means that the battery has circuitry protection inside it so that it'll stop it from overloading. Gets too hot, it'll cut out. You push it too hard, it'll cut out to protect both the battery and the tool. Now you'll also see it on the tools themselves, but not every tool has that. Some basic tools don't bother doing it. Fans, I don't think radios have the star on them, because they also often don't have this third pin here, which is the one that tells you it's getting a bit too hot in here. Polycarbonate these are as well, in case you want to know, but we'll get into that a bit more when we pull them apart. We're still talking about symbols, for crying out loud. So the stars, done that one. The snowflake and the plane. I was talking about the plane, wasn't I? When these batteries are sent from the factory, they are, as I've already spoken, they're not fully charged. They're 30% or below, and so they're safe to go on planes because they don't have a lot of stored energy in them. But there is a number next to that, so if you look that number up, you might be able to find out a bit more info about that. But basically that number is just all the specifications, safety specifications and stuff like that, that lithium-ion batteries need. And as for the snowflake, well, it may not be what you think it is. It's got nothing to do with cold at all. As far as I'm aware, it's to do with fast charging. Now, this battery has a snowflake. This battery has a snowflake. This 5 amp hour battery does not, oh, no, that's a Lego one. This 5 amp hour battery does not have a snowflake. It's got the star, of course, got the little plane, no snowflake. So the snowflakes only come on the 12, the 9 and the 6 amp hour batteries, and that indicates that they are compatible with fast charging. Now by fast charging I don't mean that they go on the rapid charger, because all the batteries go fine on the rapid charger, but there's one that's a little bit different that goes a little bit quicker on the 6, the 9s and the 12s. I don't have that charger, but one day maybe I will review it. But now I'm sick to death of talking. I want to open these things up and see what's inside. Now, just like other Makita batteries, we have number 10 Torx screws to get them out, but as well as the screws, one of them has a white polycarbonate bung in it. So you've got to drill that out before you can get in there. So let's do that. Just drill in. Grabbed the wrong size drill, but should have probably got a smaller one. If you've got it right, you can just half drill into it and then pluck them out. Oh, didn't want to come out. Sometimes they come out, sometimes you make a dog's breakfast of it. Warranty void, warranty void. That one came out in one go. Now, even though our 4 screws are out of the bottom, I can't get this open. Is it because there's one under the label? Or is it because there's 2 here in the top? Now, I haven't seen screws in the top of Makita LXT batteries before. There's nothing in the top of these 18 volt 5 amp hour ones. There's 2 bits there that look like screws, but they're not. It's just 4 screws in the bottom. So we better open up these top couple of screws and see if we can get inside. Whoop. Review for this down below. I'm using the wrong size bit. I'm using a Japanese bit and a New Zealand screwdriver, even though they're both Japanese brand, the same exact brand. Now I can feel that this is going to open up now. So here we go. What have we got inside? Oh, we should look at the 9 amp first, don't you reckon? So this one, same issue. Bottom screws are all out. Just need to get the top ones out. Okay, as you can see, they are the same screws, just Torx 10, exactly the same as the ones that were in the bottom. So that's nice and easy. Right, that falls out, easy peasy. The board, as ever these days, exciting as anything, because everything's covered up. Bum bum. Anyway, the thing I want to see the most is the batteries. And I can already see that they're not Murata because they are pink. To get to the battery cells, we've got 4 more screws that we need to get this whole battery cartridge out of the inside of the shell. And they don't, like all other Makita batteries, use Torx 10. Got to change it again and use Torx 8. Okay, another step closer. Let's tip this out. Like this. Will we come out? Yes, we will. There we go. Look at all those little pinkies. And we can see the configuration now. We've got 4 on the bottom, which is a little bit different. That's what gives it this weird boat shape. Now I'm guessing they do that for some sort of fitment issue. But then again, they sort of did it with the 5 on the 40 volt there. And even the 8's got a bit of a funny look to it. Can we see what cells these are? Let me take a wee look-see. Now, it's pretty damn hard to see inside with the camera. There's a few places where you can see little bits of writing. And if I piece it all together, you can see the NCR there. I can see they're 3000 milliamps, but I of course already knew that because it's a 9 amp hour battery. So you have 3 sets of cells basically. If you've got 5 cells at 3 milliamp hours each, that adds up to a 3 amp hour 18 volt battery. And if you multiply that by 3, you've got 2 more lots of cells coming up to our 15 cells. That gives you 3 amp hour, 3 amp hour, 3 amp hour at 18 volts, 18 volts, 18 volts. So add them all together, you end up with an 18 volt battery that does 9 amp hours of runtime. I don't really want to cut into this to 100% confirm my suspicion on what they are, but I'm pretty sure they are NCR 1865Ks from Panasonic. I'm going to pull apart the 12 now and we'll just see if we can see the battery cells in there a bit better. Hopefully it's slightly different and we can see them a bit easier, because this is likely to have the same cells because it's another multiple of 3. You go 3, 6, 9, 12, but I'm sure you know your 3 times table. So I'd say these are using exactly the same cells. They might not be. Oh, what have we got here? We've got a double, 2-piece release lever. Double spring as well. The 9 only had the 1 spring that goes in the center there. Okay, on the top, once again, not a lot that can be seen. Pretty big board though. Runs the full length of the battery basically. Oh, we can already see the cells quite easily there. Careful with all these screws and metal bits around that I don't end up zapping something. She's out. Oh, and you can see those cells. Geez, I wish all batteries were like that. Look at that. Exactly what I said. NCR 1865Ks. So visible. Visible there. Ah. But wait on tools. You said these are 18650. These are 18650 cells. Shouldn't they be the same width? You said these were wider. Well, yeah, they are just a little bit wider. So we take a look. We line one side up, you'll see there that we've got a lip of sort of 3 or 4 mil, about 1/8 of an inch, something like that. So is that going to cause an issue with fitment? They also look like they taper and get slightly wider at the top than they are at the bottom. As for the 9, that was the 12. The 9 is a little bit smaller, but if we line that side up, turn it on again, we can see that you've got a couple of mil difference. Not the end of the world, hopefully. And if you're wondering where I got these from, I bought them from Tradie Republic here in Auckland. I think I've got their address here. The address should be on this bucket, so there we go, Tradie Republic. And I thought the address was on that side. Okay, it's not on the bucket. They're in Wairau in Auckland, and I'll put a link to their website down in the description. I get a heap of gear from them. They're not paying me to say this, but they're a Kiwi company, and so I'd rather support a Kiwi company than some big box store from over the ditch. So yeah, that's where I get a heap of my stuff. Right, what's next? I wish all batteries were like that. So 3000 milliamp hours, you can see written on the top there as well. So there's all the information we need. So what are those cells? Makita mostly used Murata, which used to be Sony, and it's good to see them now using Panasonic. They've also used LG and Samsung in the past. This battery looks like it's got the spacing a bit further apart on some of the cells, with some airflow sort of vents going through, so the cells aren't touching each other, so there's a bit more space to keep this battery cool. Because as you can see, if you're going full whack with that, there's the potential to get very, very warm. Looking at the bottom of the 12 amp hour, you can see there's quite a few holes to vent. And on the 9 amp hour, it's got a few, but nowhere near as many. Oh, and I don't know if I showed it before, but the lights on these new batteries are, as you can see, green rather than red. 18 volt ones normally have the 4 red lights like that, but there are some 14 volt ones that look like this. Whoa, what's going on there? Instead of 4 red lights, we have 3 green lights and a sort of orangey light. Why are they different colors? What does it mean? Well, this battery has been designed to work in a different way to the other batteries. It's not just different colored lights, but it actually behaves differently as well. When you put it on a tool, when you pull the trigger, the lights come on. While you're using a tool with this battery on, the indicators will stay on. So you can always see at a quick glance how much power you have. Why would you need that? Well, because I've hooked this onto a production tool, that's why. Also, that little light at the end, that's a different color. That is because once it gets to that point, auto stop kicks in. Which has led lots of people to tell me that they're fake batteries. People just love saying that things are fake. This one, however, is definitely fake. Or more of an homage than a fake. Interesting array that they've got there. The way that everything is laid out. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can find out some info about those cells. So if it isn't already apparent, both of these batteries are using the same cells, and they're 18650 cells, not 21700s. But are these new tabless cells? And the answer is no, unfortunately they are not tabless. We're still going to have to wait to get tabless cells in Makita 18 volt batteries. Hopefully they're going to release them soon in these, and it would also be nice to get them finally in an F version of one of these. But there has been a lot of delays in production of 18650 tabless cells. I do know that some companies are making them now, but not the companies that unfortunately Makita seem to deal with. After checking the web, it turns out that these are pretty new cells and there's not much info around. Even on Panasonic's own website, they say they exist, but they only give you the dead basic info, such as the voltage per cell, which of course we already know, 3.6 volt, the length of the battery, the diameter of the battery, blah blah blah, which in case you don't know, 18650 stands for the size basically. So 18 mil is the diameter of each cell, and 65 is the length of the cell. So that's in millimeters, of course. But as for data sheets, safety sheets, that sort of stuff, telling you all the discharge rates and maximum current and all that stuff, we haven't got anything at this stage. So they're pretty new. These may be the first batteries that these cells are actually used in. I'm not sure about that, but might be the case. Anyway, so we can't really find out much more about this at this stage. So I'm going to put these back together, and we'll see just what they look like on some tools. What's that, Tony? Ah, okay. Turns out this video is getting a bit long, so I'll do all that on another video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.